Hi there everybody and welcome along to the big quiz night in. Hope you're all doing well. Let's see who we've got in the chat for this evening's quiz then. Good evening first of all to Mark Harrison. Hope you're doing well, Mark. Hello to Pinky and the Brain. Glad you could join us here. It's a bit quiet in the chat this evening. There's a few teams I know we might not have this tonight, but we'll see who joins us. We do have somebody new here. Excuse me. We've got Michelle in the chat. Welcome along. Glad you could be here. Do we do this every Tuesday? I do this most Tuesdays when I can, but then the last Tuesday of every month is a private quiz night just for the Patreon supporters. If you want to join that as well, you're more than welcome to, but we do that via Google Meet and we all have a video chat, and I do game show kind of stuff in a different way to what you're going to experience tonight for the Facebook live shows. But yeah, most Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock we're here. It's just the last Tuesday of the month we tend to do the Patreon only quiz show, and that's how this kind of thing works. But yeah, welcome along everybody. We've got 3 quiz rounds as always coming up very soon. Completely random subjects as per usual. We mix it up every week, and we've also got the kids question coming up in just a moment, where both of my kids will be here very soon to give you an opportunity to win some bonus points that you can allocate to your team's score for any of those first 3 quiz rounds. And then we've got our own little game shows round at the end as well, where we'll play a little game of Family Fortunes. So there's an Our Survey Says question, and then we've got cryptic clues for music bands, or bands, artists or groups I should say, at the very end. So 3 full quiz rounds plus your game shows, and the show, by the way, takes about an hour and 20 at the moment. That's about the average kind of time. So yeah, I hope you enjoy tonight's entertainment. More in the chat. What are your kids' names? They'll be coming on very soon. We'll introduce them to you. We've got Sue and the Donuts here as well. Excellent. Right, well, let's move on then to our question, and we'll see if you can get yourself some bonus points tonight. Here we go.
Ahsoka.
Sorry, go on, read out again. That was on mute.
Oh. What is the surname of the Star Wars character Ahsoka?
Ahsoka, you were about to say it then, weren't you? Okay, so let me just reiterate, because it was on mute. This is one of the only times I'll ask you to guess in the chat. If you get this correct, you get 2 bonus points tonight. You get 2 bonus points that you can add on to your score for any of the quiz rounds. Just a bit of fun to kick off the show. So yeah, have a guess in the chat. The options are, can you read these out as well?
A. Ventress. B. Skywalker. C. Dameron. And D. Tano. Note these are all actually Star Wars last names.
They are, that's right,
and
yes.
one of them is our kitten's name.
One of them is our kitten's name, yeah, yes.
Ventress.
So we've got some guesses coming in. Have a guess in the chat, just a bit of fun. See if you can get some bonus points, guys. We've got 3 guesses coming in so far, and then Abby can tell you what the answer is in a moment. Okay, alright, so I think that's about all we're going to get right now. So let's go then to reveal the answer for this one then. The answer is...
Tana!
Ahsoka Tano.
And there's Ventress as well.
So Catherine's gone with B, Sue's gone with D, Gabby went with C, and Michelle went with D. So the people who got it correct then are...
Am I reading?
Yeah, you could read these off, yeah, go on.
Mark.
So Mark's got the points.
And Michelle.
And
Sue.
yes, 3 of you got the points. So well done. That's good stuff. Well, the reason we're doing this is because the Ahsoka series we're very excited about was supposed to be today, but it's actually tomorrow, because it's today in America and it's tomorrow for us. So the episodes dropping tomorrow. We're very excited about it, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much, Kitty Winks.
I am under the water. Please help me.
I'm sure they'll be back next time, but that'll be in 2 weeks because it's Patreon next week. Okay, so say goodbye, please. Oh, Millie's here as well now. Great. Right, okay, so we're moving on then to the first quiz round proper. Yes, good evening to Millie. No problem, you're a bit late. You just missed out on bonus points though. I don't know whether you got that right or not, but anyway. All those names, as Abby mentioned, they are all genuine Star Wars names. So you had obviously Ahsoka Tano, you had Skywalker. If you know Star Wars at all, you know Skywalker. Dameron is Poe's name, who's one of the sequel trilogy characters. And then what was the other one? I forget now. I forget what I put in. They're all Star Wars names anyway. So the 3 quiz rounds we're going to do then are along the bottom of the screen as always, and we're on that first round there, sport and leisure. So 15 questions on sport and leisure. It feels more leisure heavy than sport in this one, which might be a good thing for some of you, but we'll see. These 3 quiz rounds you're going to have first. You'll get 15 questions that I'll tell you. Make a note of them your side. Don't put anything in the chat now related to the answers, unless you're going to query about the question you're not quite sure. Maybe you want to just check what I said. If you want me to repeat a question, I do repeats at the end. So once I've got to question 15, you can then say, hey, can you repeat this question for me? And I'll go back and repeat for you. Then I'll run through all the answers for all 15 questions. And then we'll see how well you did, because you can tally up your own scores and then just submit those in the comments, and we'll celebrate with those who do well, commiserate with those who don't, but we are just here to have some fun, so let's see how you get on. I think that's about it. No more comments to come in, and I think pretty much everybody that would normally be here on a quiz night is here, plus we've got a new person here with Michelle, which is fantastic, for the Facebook live shows, and I have had apologies from some other names that a few of you will be familiar with, so it's all good. We've got a good crowd again this evening. Here we go with question 1 in our sport and leisure round. Which country is the home of the cha-cha-cha? Which country is the home of the cha-cha-cha? You may notice along the bottom here, there is also a bunch of letters. This is our countdown conundrum. During this quiz round, if you can work out what that is, write it down your side again or make a mental note of it. If you get that correct, I'll reveal the answer at the end of the round. You get another 2 bonus points, okay? So that's what that's all about. There will be 3 of them in total, 1 for each of the 3 quiz rounds. Question 2, which university has won the most Oxford-Cambridge boat races? Which university has won the most Oxford-Cambridge boat races? It is pretty close, but there is one clear leader at the moment. Question number 3, this is for 3 points. Which American basketball teams are Knicks, Celtics, and Lakers? Which American basketball teams are Knicks, Celtics, and Lakers? You can only type in the chat. Yeah, I mean, you can always send messages and talk in the chat, that's fine, but most people will just write down the answers their side. Or just, again, make a little mental note of them, I guess, because if you put them in the chat now, people are going to think about or know what the answers are before we get to the point where I reveal them. So it's treated like a pub quiz, where you'd have your quiz round and then the answers would be told at the end, which is where this whole show's come from an actual pub quiz that I host. So if you haven't got a pen or paper to hand, or another way of writing down the answers, then have a think about what you could do for the next time, but just see how well you do at the moment by having a guess without putting anything in the chat, and then just tell me what your scores are at the end or how well you think you did. Hope that's okay. That's kind of the premise of this particular live quiz show. In the game shows round, when we get to the end, the game shows round, then you can put stuff in the chat, because then you all work together as a one big team in the chat to try and guess what all the answers are that I put on screen. But for these quiz rounds, make a note of them your side. Question 4. The game called Snakes and Ladders originally came from which country? The game called Snakes and Ladders originally came from which country? Question number 5 now. Question 5. We're on to video games for this one. The land of Azeroth features in which video game? The land of Azeroth features in which video game? Massively popular franchise, been going for a long time. To give you a bit of a clue, maybe. The land of Azeroth features in which video game? That is question number 5. Okay, question number 6. What is the maximum number of rounds fought in a professional boxing bout? What is the maximum number of rounds fought in a professional boxing bout? Okay, question number 7 now. This is for another 3 points. Question 7. How many minutes of play are there in an American football, rugby union, and basketball match? 1 point for each of these, okay, because they are different times. How many minutes of play are there in an American football, rugby union, and basketball match? That is question number 7 there for 3 points. So that's an American football, rugby union, and basketball match. 1 point for each. Question 8 now. Question 8. The Champions League football club called Ludogorets Razgrad play home matches in which European country? The Champions League football club called Ludogorets Razgrad play home matches in which country? I will pop it in the chat just in case you want to see the spelling. If that makes any difference at all. Question number 9 now for 2 more points. Which 2 properties are either side of Go on a standard UK Monopoly board? Which 2 properties are either side of Go on a standard UK Monopoly board? One point for each of those then. Question number 10 now. Question 10. Which is the only sport in the world that must be played right-handed even if you are left-handed? Which is the only sport in the world that must be played right-handed even if you are left-handed? All right, question 11 then for 3 more points. Question 11. What does the term CTF stand for in a paintball match? What does the term CTF stand for in a paintball match? Again, I'll put that in the chat just so there's no confusion. CTF. What does that stand for? That is for 3 points as well. 1 point for each correct word. Right, question number 12 now. Which rugby Super League team are Vikings? Which Rugby Super League team are Vikings? Question 13 now. Which is the heaviest weapon used in Olympic fencing? Which is the heaviest weapon used in Olympic fencing? Question 14 now for 2 points. Which two pieces of equipment can score points in the game of Quidditch? Which two pieces of equipment can score points in the game of Quidditch? Okay, question 15 is for a total of 5 points. Which 5 cities host the biggest marathon races in the world as decided by the highest number of people that take part? Which 5 cities host the biggest marathon races in the world determined by the highest number of people that take part? They're all big major cities, so name those for 1 point each. That does bring us to the end of this round. Let me know now in the chat if there's any questions you want me to repeat, which will then in turn give you all a little bit more thinking time. You also have the countdown conundrum at the bottom there. If you could work that out, that's 2 extra points. And for those who got the question right earlier from the kids, remember, if you wanted to put those bonus points towards your score here, you could, or you could save those 2 bonus points for the history round, which is next, and then what's called a cops and robbers round after that. That's just going to be a trivia round or general knowledge round, just like this, but the subject's going to be cops, robbers from TV, film, literature, anything like that. Okay, that's what that's all about. So you can use your bonus points on any of those. Okay, any more in terms of repeats for questions? If not, I will start going through the answers. I'll give you just a few more seconds. So tally up your scores as we go, and then let me know in the comments how well you did by telling me your score. Along with your team name if you'd like to. You don't have to have a team name, I can just say your name if you like, but I do like to give you all a shout out regardless. So, do leave a comment with your score. Here we go. The answers for this round are: question 1. The country that is home to the cha-cha-cha is Cuba. Question 2. The university boat race has been won most by Cambridge. There's only like 2 in it, or 1 in it even now. But Cambridge has won the most currently. Question 3. Which American basketball teams are Knicks, Celtics and Lakers? It is the New York Knicks, the Boston Celtics and the LA Lakers. Question 4. The game called Snakes and Ladders is originally from India. Question 5, this is your video game question. The Land of Azeroth features in which video game? That is Warcraft or World of Warcraft. Question 6, what is the maximum number of rounds fought in a professional boxing bout? It is up to 12 rounds. It used to be 15 up until a few years back, and then they reduced it down to 12. Even for championship fights, it's 12 rounds maximum. Question 7. How many minutes of play are there in an American football, rugby union and basketball match? So American football is 60 minutes, despite the fact it takes about 3 hours. It's 60 minutes of actual game time. Rugby union is 80 minutes, so there's 2 halves of 40. And then basketball is 12 minutes a quarter, so it's 48 in total. So for 3 points there, 60 minutes, 80 minutes, and 48 minutes. Question 8. The Champions League football club called Ludogorets Razgrad play home matches in Bulgaria. Question 9. The two properties either side of Go on a standard UK Monopoly board are Old Kent Road and Mayfair. Old Kent Road being the cheapest, Mayfair the most expensive. 1 point for each. Question 10. Which is the only sport in the world that you have to play right-handed even if you are left-handed? It is polo. Because it's pretty dangerous riding around horseback, swinging a mallet around, and even more so if one of you's doing it the other way to everybody else. So you have to play it right-handed. So yes, polo. Question 11 for 3 points. What does the term CTF stand for in paintball? It is, and also in fairness, this is in video games and in many other things, but in paintball it is capture the flag. So 1 point for each correct word. Capture the flag. Question 12. Which Rugby Super League team are Vikings? It is the Widnes Vikings. Question 13. What is the heaviest weapon used in Olympic fencing? That is the EP. Question 14. The two pieces of equipment that can score points in the game of Quidditch are the quaffle and the golden snitch. And finally, the 5 cities that host the biggest marathon races based on number of people taking part: New York, Chicago, London, Paris, and Tokyo. So again, that's 1 point for each, 5 points in total. Now, the answer for the countdown conundrum is prospects. 2 points if you got prospects on top of all the points you got for that sport and leisure round. Plus, if you need that little boost you think for this round, you can add on the points from the kids. We don't do an overall highest scoring team prize, it's just per round. So you can add on those bonus points to whichever one you think you're going to need those extra points in to boost your score if you want to. Tally up your scores and please now put them in the comments. Let me know how well you got on. Whilst you're doing that, a reminder to you all to, whilst you're here, give the video a like or a positive emoji reaction. All those kind of things help out because that means that Facebook knows that people are enjoying what they're watching, and it might then put them in front of new people. You never know. So yeah, that's always appreciated. Scores are starting to come in. Additionally, in the description of this video, I always put a link where you can follow me in various other places across social media and support me in every way imaginable for what I do here. Every bit of support is appreciated. Taking part is the best thing though, particularly here. I really appreciate you guys being here. Hope you're going to have fun with the rest of your evening. But do click that link and see where else you can support me or follow me if you wish. Okay, here comes the scores then. So the Donuts have got themselves 18 points. Good stuff there. 12 points for the Not So Golden Oldies. 17 points there for Mark. Are you, was it the Funky Chickens or something you went by before? Are you changing your name? You're just going with Mark now? You have to let me know. Gabby also says 17 for Pinky and the Brain. Interesting. Sometimes you guys let me know if you've got the conundrum right. I wonder how many of you did this time. You don't have to say anything, of course, if you don't want to on that. But good scores anyway. Yeah, excellent stuff. Nobody has to, of course, say how well they did. There's no pressure there. Millie, well done. 13 points. Good effort there. And newbie, oh no, 14. Yes, Mark is Funky Chickens. Thank you. I thought I remembered that right. Thanks, Sue. And yeah, Millie says got 14 actually. Great. Okay. Yes, Funky Chickens. Donuts got the conundrum. Good stuff. Well done. I think they're a bit easier tonight. That's not to say you shouldn't be proud of the fact you got it, but last time out they were. I think there were 3 tough ones, weren't they? I think looking at them, they're a little bit easier tonight. But yeah, see how you go with the others. Yeah, it's always interesting to see which ones you do well with. Okay, and also, if Michelle is still watching, you don't have to put anything in the comments, but I'm glad you're here anyway. All right, no pressure. Okay, next round then, let's move on. Your next round is going to be the history. Oh, Pinky in the Brain didn't get it this time. Never mind, never mind. You've got another one on screen now, so let's see if you can work that one out then. Yes, another 2 points if you get that conundrum right. The round, though, itself will be history. We haven't done history for a while, so 15 more questions coming your way for this one. Let's see how well you do here. Okay, yeah, I've just reminded myself there's something I want to tell you guys for Patreon supporters in particular. But I will get into that later in the end of this round, I think. Question 1 then, in the history round. According to Shakespeare, Hamlet was a prince of which country? According to Shakespeare, Hamlet was a prince of which country? Question number 2 is your mandatory Henry VIII question in every single history round in every quiz ever. It's bound to happen at some point. So, who were Henry VIII's third, fourth, and fifth wives? Who were Henry VIII's third, fourth, and fifth wives? Obviously, I can't tell if you put them in that order, but as long as you've named the 3 that are third, fourth, and fifth, then you get a point for each. I know you'll be honest. But yeah, 1 point for each in any order. Who were Henry VIII's third, fourth, and fifth wives? That's question 2. Okay, question number 3 then. Which artist painted The Starry Night? Which artist painted The Starry Night? Question number 4 then for another 3 points. Question 4. Put these conflicts into the correct order with the earliest fought first. The Iraq War, the Bosnian conflict, and the Kosovo conflict. Put these conflicts in the correct order, earliest fought first. The Iraq War, Bosnian conflict, Kosovo conflict. So 3 points if that's in the correct order. The only other 2 choices with these questions, if you get 1 in the right order and the other 2 are not, then obviously you got 1 point. And then failing that, you wouldn't have scored anything if they're obviously then in the complete wrong order. 3 possibilities for that question. The Iraq War, the Bosnian conflict, and the Kosovo conflict in the correct order with the earliest first. Question 5. King Edward VIII abdicated the throne for the love of which woman? King Edward VIII abdicated the throne for the love of which woman? Question 6 now. Question 6. Which decade saw the first man to travel in space? Question 6. Which decade saw the first man to travel in space? Question number 7 now. This one's for 3 more points. Question 7. Which scientist published his theory of relativity, his theory of natural selection, and his 3 laws of motion? 3 different scientists. Which scientist published his theory of relativity, theory of natural selection, and 3 laws of motion? 1 point for each. That's 3 points in total. Name the 3 scientists. Question number 8 now. Question 8. Which country suffered the most fatalities during World War II? Which country suffered the most fatalities during World War II? Okay, question number 9 now. Question 9. What phrase did the DeLorean's number plate in Back to the Future spell out? What phrase did the DeLorean's number plate in Back to the Future spell out? You don't have to have spelt it exactly right, but as long as the phrase is correct, which will make sense when you know what the answer is. What phrase did the DeLorean's number plate in Back to the Future spell out? Okay, question number 10 now. Question 10. Who are the 3 most recent leaders of the opposition in the UK? Who are the 3 most recent leaders of the opposition in the UK? Again, 1 point for each. Question 11 now. Question 11. This is a Greek mythology question here. Question 11. What type of mythical creature was Medusa? What type of mythical creature was Medusa? Okay, on to question 12 now. This one's for 3 more points. Which cities in the USA have airports named in honour of George W. Bush, Bill Clinton and Ronald Reagan? Which cities in the USA have airports named in honour of George W. Bush, Bill Clinton and Ronald Reagan? 1 point for each correct city. Question number 13 now. Question 13 is for 2 points. Which British Prime Ministers came before and after Winston Churchill? Which Prime Ministers came before and after Winston Churchill? I'm just going to give you some clarification on that one because he was actually Prime Minister twice, Churchill. And I think we're talking about the first time. Yeah, so the first time he was Prime Minister, who was before him, who was after him? Question number 14 now. Question 14. Who were the last 3 leaders of the Soviet Union? Who were the last 3 leaders of the Soviet Union? Obviously, I won't mark you down for spelling because I can't, as long as they're close enough. Who were the last 3 leaders of the Soviet Union? 1 point for each. And finally then, question 15. Who played the title roles in the movies called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, in Schindler's List, and in The Wolf of Wall Street? 1 point for each here. Who played the title roles in the movies called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, in Schindler's List, and in The Wolf of Wall Street? 1 point for each again. on that one. And that is the end of the history round. Please do make sure you've worked out or had a guess at the conundrum. See if you can get an extra 2 points there. This is the second opportunity to use those bonus points if you did get them from the kids question earlier. But let me know now if you like any questions repeated before we then go through these answers. A few tough questions in this round, in fairness. So no problem if you want me to repeat anything. Okay, no comments, nothing requested. I'm guessing you're all paying close attention again. Excellent. All right, so I'll read through the answers, tally up your scores, let me know how you did. 2 points if you get the conundrum. Oh, I just seen one from Mark. We will do 15 again for you. Question 15 again. Who played the title roles? Oh, there's 2 repeats. Question 15. Who played the title roles in the movies called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, in Schindler's List, and in The Wolf of Wall Street? So that's 15. And then Sue has asked for number 7. So for the donuts, number 7. Which scientist published his theory of relativity, his theory of natural selection, and his 3 laws of motion? Okay, Millie wants question 3, that's fine. I'll just do number 7 again. Which scientist published his theory of relativity, his theory of natural selection, and his 3 laws of motion? 1 point for each. 3 different scientists. And question 3 was, which artist painted the Starry Night? Which artist painted the Starry Night? Good. Okay, that's those ones done. So last few seconds then, get your guesses in. Right, let's go through the answers. Question 1. According to Shakespeare, Hamlet was a prince of which country? That is Denmark. Question 2. Who were Henry VIII's 3rd, 4th and 5th wives? They were, in this order, Jane Seymour, Anne of Cleves, and Catherine Howard. Question 3. Which artist painted the Starry Night? That was Vincent van Gogh. Question 4. Put these conflicts into the correct order with the earliest fought first. The 3 I gave you were the Iraq War, the Bosnian conflict, and the Kosovo conflict. But in the correct order, it is Bosnia, then Kosovo, then the Iraq War. Question 5. King Edward VIII abdicated the throne for the love of which woman? It is Wallis Simpson. Question 6. Which decade saw the first man travel to space? That was in the 1960s. Question 7. Which scientist published his theory of relativity, his theory of natural selection, and his 3 laws of motion? It is Albert Einstein, Charles Darwin, and Isaac Newton. Question 8. Which country suffered the most fatalities during World War II? It is the Soviet Union. Question 9. What phrase did the DeLorean's number plate in Back to the Future spell out? It was outer time. Out of time, but it's out a time. Out a time. So if you put anything along those lines, you can have the point. I'll just put it in the chat so you can see how it's actually spelt. Question 10. Who are the 3 most recent leaders of the opposition in the UK? So we've got Keir Starmer, Jeremy Corbyn, and then Harriet Harman before that. Question 11. A Medusa, or the Medusa, was a Gorgon. Question 12. The cities in the USA that have airports named in honour of George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and Ronald Reagan are Houston, Little Rock, and Washington. Not Washington, D.C. Houston, Little Rock, and Washington. Well, which Iraq wars? There was Desert Storm in the beginning of the 90s. Good question. Good question. Evening, Jan, by the way. Let's have a look. The Iraq War was a protracted armed conflict in Iraq from 2003 to 2011. So I think Desert Storm is not considered the Iraq War. Let me just see what that says about that. That's classed as the Gulf War. So the Iraq War is what happened in 2003. Yeah, 2003. Desert Storm is classed as the Gulf War. It's what happens when you Google it anyway. Yeah, Operation Desert Storm began in 1991. So it's not treated as the same conflict. Oh, wow. Your uncle was a professor at the uni there and was evacuated because of the war. And yes, good evening, yes. Oh. Well, yeah, you're right to point it out, because I bet there were people that put it ahead of the other two, because it was earlier in that respect. But no, they are treated as different conflicts. Well, they are different conflicts. And yeah, the Iraq War is the one that started in 2003. Always good to check these things, though. Right, question, where did we get to then? Question number... We've done the airports one, didn't we? So question 13, the Prime Ministers that came before and after Winston Churchill's first term as Prime Minister. Before was Neville Chamberlain, then after that it was Clement Attlee. And then he came back in again, and I think Anthony Eden followed him again after that. But Neville Chamberlain and then Clement Attlee, 1 point for each. Question 14. Who were the last three leaders of the Soviet Union? It is Mikhail Gorbachev, Konstantin Chernenko, and Yuri Andropov for 3 points. So 1 point for each. Again, you don't have to put those in the right order, but you do get 1 point for each. Question 15. Who played the title roles in the movies called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, in Schindler's List, and in The Wolf of Wall Street? Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, it is Viola Davis. In Schindler's List, that's Liam Neeson. And The Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio. The countdown conundrum for 2 extra points tonight is increased. Increased there for 2 extra points. So tally up those scores then, let me know how well you did. And then we shall move on to round 3, our cops and robbers round. Let's see. One thing, what I was going to say earlier, whilst you're doing that, Patreons will remember Diva, and maybe regulars on Facebook will remember her as well. She was a regular and is still a supporter of what I do here. We talked before about reaching out and seeing if there was a quiz we could do on a different night that she could attend. Due to work commitments, she can't join us anymore on Tuesdays. So I haven't had a reply yet, but I just wanted to let you all know now that I have reached out to her to see if there's another night we could get together. Maybe for a Patreon quiz night it'll be, but on maybe just a different night, and we'll put some choices out there for a special to get her to come and join us again, because it's been a while, hasn't it? So yeah, that was just all I want to say about that. I've reached out to her and see how she's getting on, and if we can do a quiz maybe on a different night of the week as a one-off Patreon thing. We shall see. All right, so scores coming in. Mark has Funky Chickens, 20 plus 2, excellent. Donuts have scored 21 points, good work. Pinky in the Brain, 21 plus 2 as well, another good score there, good work. All very high scores there for what is, I think, quite a tricky round. Well done, Millie, 11 points, good effort. Yeah, it was. Lots of tough questions, I reckon, in that one. Good stuff. Any more, please feel free to leave your comments. I will read them out even if I've moved on, of course. I always do. So do keep those comments coming. The next round is Cops and Robbers. So let's just flick over now to that screen and we'll see how you do with the next one. 19 for Not So Golden Oldies, a bit of an improvement. Nice to hear about Diva. Yes, yeah. Well, she did message me a while back, giving me an update, and now I've messaged her. So, yeah, we shall see. It'll be lovely if she could join us again. But yeah, work commitments being what they are, never mind. I'll keep you posted though. So we've got 15 questions now, all connected to TV, movies, and literature, and anywhere where cops and or robbers or villainous characters in that respect could crop up. It is mostly, I think, TV and film, in fairness. Yeah. So, yeah, let's see how you do. But that's the theme of the round anyway. You have got another conundrum on screen, so as always, see if you can work that one out. And you get 2 bonus points if you do. Right. Question number 1. John McClane from the Die Hard movies was a cop from which American city? John McClane from the Die Hard movies was a cop from which American city? Question number 2 now for 2 points. What were Bonnie and Clyde's surnames? What were Bonnie and Clyde's surnames? Question number 3. George Carter and Jack Reagan were cops from which popular TV series? George Carter and Jack Reagan were cops from which popular TV series? Okay, question number 4 now. Question 4. Which great train robber was played on film by Phil Collins? Which great train robber was played on film by Phil Collins? Yes, the singer, Phil Collins. Okay, then your next question. Question 5. What were Starsky and Hutch's first names? 1 point for each. What were Starsky and Hutch's first names? Question number 6. P.C. Selby featured in which children's TV show? P.C. Selby featured in which children's TV show? Alright, then your next question, number 7. By what nickname were Harry Longabout and Robert Leroy Parker better known? By what nickname were Harry Longabout and Robert Leroy Parker better known? That's 1 point for each. Your next question, question number 8. What was the name of the police constable played on TV by Nick Berry in Heartbeat? What was the name of the police constable played on TV by Nick Berry in Heartbeat? Question number 9 now. Question 9. Ronnie Barker played the role of Slade Prison's Norman Stanley Fletcher in which 2 TV series? Ronnie Barker played the role of Slade Prison's Norman Stanley Fletcher in which 2 TV series? 1 point for each, of course, for that one. Question number 10. Axel Foley from the film Beverly Hills Cop was a policeman from which American city? Axel Foley from the film Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2 and 3 was a policeman from which American city? Right, question 11 now. Question 11. Which real-life gangsters were played on film by Johnny Depp in 2009, by Robert De Niro in 1987, and by Warren Beatty in 1991? Oh, we've got a comment from Martin. I'll just do this one again and then I'll read that out. Right, so the question again for 11. Which 3 real-life gangsters were played on film by Johnny Depp in 2009, by Robert De Niro in 1987, and by Warren Beatty in 1991? So 1 point for each, 3 different real-life gangsters. Martin says, hola Chris at Al. Sorry we couldn't make it tonight. We're having a listen back later and see how we get on. See you next week for Patreon quiz night. P.S. Not forgotten about December meetup. I'll get on it tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the evening, everyone. Oh, thanks, Martin. Yes, let me know how you get on if you do catch up. That's great. Do leave a comment as you go. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or not. Always appreciate the comments. Yes, so Patreon meetup, I will talk about in just a moment. Let's get to the end of this round first. But essentially, Martin will message Patrons at least. That's good to know. All right, the next question then is question 12. Who played Angel and Butterworth in Hot Fuzz? Who played Angel and Butterworth in Hot Fuzz? 1 point for each. Question 13. Which pop star played the real-life armed robber John McVicker on film? Which pop star played the real-life armed robber John McVicker on film? Okay, next question. Question 14. Which 3 actors starred as Goodfellas in the film of the same name? Which 3 actors starred as Goodfellas in the film of the same name? Of course, that's 1 point for each as well. And finally, question 15 for 2 points. Riggs and Murtaugh and Burnett and Lowry are buddy cop duos that featured in which movies? 1 point for each there. Riggs and Murtaugh and Burnett and Lowry are buddy cop duos that featured in which movie? Or movies. 1 point for each. Both are franchises, so more than one. Riggs and Murtaugh for 1 point and Burnett and Lowry for another point. That's the end of the round. Again, as always, let me know if there's any questions you need repeated. I'll gladly do those for you as always. And the last few seconds to work out what you think that conundrum is for 2 more points. And this is your last opportunity to use the bonus points, if you haven't done so already, from the kids' question earlier on. Whilst you're all having a quick think of that, read Martin's comment. So yes, we have had a Patreon meetup, which was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, loved it. That was our very first one after all this time of doing these quizzes. Very good. But we are going to do another one just before Christmas, and we're going to work out the date. It will most probably be a Thursday night quiz. For those who don't know, I host 2 quizzes in Abingdon at the same pub, and so you come down to one of those for a live quiz. We'll have a meal beforehand again, and then have drinks after for those who want to stay out. It worked out really well last time. So, hopefully a good turnout again next time. Sue has asked for number 7 to be repeated. Okay, so question 7 was for 2 points. By what nickname were Harry Longabout and Robert Leroy Parker better known? 1 point for each. Harry Longabout and Robert Leroy Parker. What nicknames were they better known? So that is the only repeat I've got in. I'm about to go through the answers then. The reason, oh right, I forgot to say, he said hashtag CIHAPPC, which is our little inside joke there. Hashtag can I have a pee please Chris, because of the Blockbusters game that we sometimes play on the Patreon quiz nights. So of course with Blockbusters, can I have a pee please Bob is a joke phrase often said about that show. And so yes, that's why he says that. It used to be a hashtag I put here as well just for a laugh, and now I put my normal handle there instead. Okay, let's go through some answers then. I've waffled on a lot tonight. Question 1. John McClane from the film Die Hard was a cop from which American city? It was New York. He travelled to Los Angeles in the first movie, but he was a cop from New York. Question 2. What were Bonnie and Clyde's surnames? It's Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow. Question 3. Carter and Reagan were cops from The Sweeney. Question 4. The great train robber, played on film by Phil Collins, was Buster Edwards. Buster's fine for the point. That was also the name of the movie. Question 5. What were Starsky and Hutch's Christian names? They were David Starsky and Ken Hutchinson. So David and Ken for 2 points. Question 6. PC Selby is from Postman Pat. Question 7. The nicknames that Harry Longabout and Robert Leroy Parker were better known as: Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Question 8. That was for 2 points, by the way. Question 8. What was the name of the police constable played on TV by Nick Berry in Heartbeat? It was PC Nick Rowan. A rare time when an actor played a different character entirely, or played a character who also had the same first name. Don't think that happens too often. Question 9. Ronnie Barker played the role of Slade Prison's Norman Stanley Fletcher in which 2 TV series? Porridge, originally, and then in their sequel series, Going Straight. Question 10. Axel Foley from the Beverly Hills Cop films was a policeman from which American city? Detroit. He travels from Detroit to Beverly Hills. Question 11. Which three real-life gangsters were played on film by Johnny Depp in 2009, by Robert De Niro in 1987, and by Warren Beatty in 1991? For 3 points, Johnny Depp played John Dillinger in Public Enemies. So John Dillinger for 1 point. The next one is Al Capone in The Untouchables. So Robert De Niro in 1987 played Al Capone, and Warren Beatty played Bugsy Siegel in Bugsy in 1991. So for 3 points, John Dillinger, Al Capone, and Bugsy Siegel. Question 12. Who played Angel and Butterworth in Hot Fuzz? That was Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Must watch that again at some point. That's such a good film. Question 13. Which pop star played the real-life armed robber John McVicker on film Roger Daltrey, lead singer of The Who? Question 14. Which 3 actors starred as Goodfellas in the film of the same name? Brilliant movie. Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Ray Liotta. And question 15. Riggs and Murtaugh and Burnett and Lowry are buddy cop duos that featured in which movies? So Riggs and Murtaugh are from the Lethal Weapon franchise, and Burnett and Lowry are from Bad Boys. 1 point for each of those. Now then, the answer to the countdown conundrum is briefcase. Briefcase. Did anybody get that one right? Let me know. Tally up your scores. Let's see how well you did. And then we shall move on to our game shows round. We've got one Family Fortune style question again, and then the cryptic bands and music, or bands, artists, singers, that kind of thing, for the final round of the evening. More on that when we get to it. So let's see how well you've done here. How many points have you got? Okay, here come the scores. 12 plus 2 points for Mark and the Funky Chickens. Well done. 12 again, struggling tonight, says Catherine and Tony. Oh, that's all right. 15 plus 2 for Pinky and the Brain. Sue says 18, no conundrum. Oh, that's a good score. Remember, if you haven't used them already, this was the last chance to use the bonus points from the kids' questions for those who got it right. But still, good scores in another tough round. Good. Yeah, keep your comments coming in. I'm going to move on to the next round. But obviously you can keep commenting, it's fine. Always enjoy reading out them comments and seeing how you did. The next round then will be the Our Survey Says round. Okay, so questions on screen now. I know if the comments are taking a bit longer to come through tonight. They kind of all flood through at once sometimes as the chat tries to catch up. Anyway, here's the Our Survey Says question. This time you do put the guesses in the comments, as many of you know who are watching already. Name a house pet you wouldn't let sleep in your bed. As you guess them, I will then reveal them in roughly in the order you comment them. I might try and leave top answers till later on just to build suspense a little. But let's see how many of these you can guess correctly then. Everybody have like one guess for now. And we'll see how those pan out. And then you can just start guessing as much as you like. Just so I can manage the comments a bit easier. Let's see how you get on and how quickly we can work out these top 7 answers from this survey of 100 people. Name a house pet you wouldn't let sleep in your bed. We've got Snake from Sue and the Donuts. The Funky Chickens have gone with a rat. Catherine and Tony have gone with a hamster. What other pets, I wonder? Have any more guesses from anybody else watching? Let's start revealing where some of these fall then, because I can tell you that all of these are in the list. Okay, so let's reveal these then. Hamster first. Whereabouts is hamster in the list? That is number 7. Number 7, least popular answer of the 7 then, but there nonetheless, good guess, well done. Next one is rat. Let's go with rat. So a rat then, where is that in the list? That is 3rd in the list. Snake from Sue and the Donuts. Whereabouts does that one fall? That is the top answer. Excellent start there. 3 of the 7 already worked out. Keep on guessing now, guys. Just guess as many times as you like. Let's see how quickly we can work out what these ones are. Name a house pet you wouldn't let sleep in your bed. Oh, Mark says tarantula. Yeah, house pet you wouldn't let sleep in your bed. Makes sense. It's got to be there, surely. Spider. Spider in general. Tarantula. Yes, it is there. That is the 2nd one in the list. Well done. Catherine and Tony have both said goldfish. Is a fish there in the list? That is number 5. Number 5 in the list is fish. 2 more to guess now. What else could there be? Both different types of house pet you definitely wouldn't want to share a bed with. Excuse any background noise you can hear. The kids are being pretty noisy as they go off to bed in theory. Any more guesses? Let's see. Can I give you a clue without giving these away? One of these you would typically have in a cage, and the other would be in some kind of tank. So they wouldn't necessarily be left to roam the house. I mean, you could, I suppose. I'm sure some people do, but you wouldn't typically. Right, Sue and the Donuts have gone with a lizard then. Is a lizard there, I wonder? It is. Excellent stuff. Lizard is there. That's number 6. Oh, Mark went in there with lizard as well. Good stuff. Yeah, just after I revealed it there, but about the same time on the chat. Lizard is there. So the next one then Typically, you would have them or keep them in a cage. Typically. I'm not going to give you any more clues because we'll immediately give it away. Have a think. You can work this out. And another guest just come in there. Mark said bird. That'll be funny if it's bird. And it's Funky Chickens that have got it. Tony and Sue, you're both coming in with parrot. Okay, well, we'll lump these all together if that is the right missing answer. Let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a look. Where's my list? There it is. Okay. Wow. Bird. Is that the missing answer? It is. Well done. You've got all 7. Congratulations. You have figured it all out. All 7 answers. Awesome stuff. Right. You've worked them all out. Okay. Let's move on then to our final game of the evening. So, as we've done the last few weeks, this is your list of cryptic clues for bands, artists or groups. This is also the final 10 of the list. I thought we had more that we hadn't worked out yet, or you hadn't worked out yet. This is the final list of 10 that I'll do in this format, because all the others are ones even I haven't worked out yet, which I've mentioned to you before. I've got a list of over 100 of them, and you type in your guesses into this list, and then it tells you what the answer is. If you've got it exactly right, it tells you it's correct. There's a whole bunch of them I've got left now that even I can't work out what the answers are. I've had this quiz round for years, and every now and then I've gone back to it. It's only been obviously recently I've brought it to you guys. I don't know why it took me so long. But I'm going to have to present it a bit differently, because next time I'm going to put some on screen and you're going to have to help me work out whether they're correct or not, because I won't know either. But there are plenty more, I just don't know what they are. So I thought it'd be fun to work together on them, you know? So I'll just put the list up as it's presented next time. This will be in 2 weeks' time, and we'll see if we can work some out. Okay, so you've started to guess in the chat already. Good stuff. So number 5 then, Sue says, is number 5 Toto. Dorothy's dog. I'm pretty sure that's going to be right. Yes, Dorothy's dog is Toto, of course. Then we've also got Def Leppard. Number 3 is Hard of Hearing Wildcat. Certainly makes sense, doesn't it? Def Leppard. Yes, that is number 3. What's next? Who's next in the list? Mark and Gabby have both said is number 9 Simply Red. Uncomplicated. Simply. Primary colour red. That does make sense as well, doesn't it? And it's correct. Well done. Right, the next one then. Mark says wet, wet, wet for number 4. Moist, soaked and saturated. Good one. Yes, that is correct. Also, 7, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Both Catherine and Gabby have asked that. 7, Old Blue Eyes. Well, that's Frank Sinatra, isn't it? So Frankie, off to make a movie, goes to Hollywood. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? It's got to be. Yes, good stuff. Billie Holiday for number 6. Let's have a look. Williams Vacation. Sounds about right. And it is. Very good. Yeah, that's good. Number 10. Mark says Mamas and the Papas. Gabby's also going with Mamas and the Papas for number 10. Parents. Yeah, I'm not sure what else it could be. Good stuff. You've got that one right too. We're rapid fire through these tonight. You're going to help me out fill that list in, aren't you? So well. And there's the next few quizzes we do. We're going to get to the end of it. Oh, Millie had to take a short break. She's back. Okay, all right. Well, we're just getting the last of these cryptic ones. Let's see if you can help out with any of the remaining ones. Number 2, is that 4 seasons? Years, quarters? Yes, it is. Let's have a look in the chat. Any more guesses? No, I haven't missed any. Okay, so the one you are missing now are number 1. Oh, Catherine's put a guess in for that. And number 8. Catherine says hothouse flowers. Is hothouse flowers number 1 for greenhouse plants? Again, sounds like a logical guess there. Is it right? Yes. Good stuff. Okay, the last one. Fun Park, magnetic effect. Fun Park, magnetic effect. We have a guess in from Mark. Funky Chickens, fairground attraction. Sounds about right, doesn't it? Yes, you've done it very quickly. we're going to finish that next list off in no time. We may even do more than 10 next time. I'll put up loads of them. I'll just share my screen and I'll find out a nice way to do it, put it that way. And we'll go through as many of them as we can in the time we've got, whilst still saving some for another week, because I've really enjoyed doing these ones with you. This has been a fun little change to our usuals. Don't know what we'll do when this is done though. Maybe there's some more I can find in addition to the ones I've got. I'll work it out, I normally do. Okay, last bit then. So, next week it is Patreon quiz night. I haven't decided what we're going to do yet at all, but if any Patreons that are watching have any preference, if you think about all the usual stuff we do, feel free to ping me and suggest, can we do this game, or can we do that game? I don't mind. I'll have something prepared like I normally do, but it's always nice to be suggested or have suggestions of things. So that's next week. In the link in the description, as always, is everything you need if you want to support me in any way, including the merch store. I don't think there's any special offers on at the moment, but I'll let you know when the next one is. I think the next one will be at some point in September. But if you want to buy some Big Quiz Night in merch, if you want to support me that way, you can do. Lots of other ways you can as well. As always, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you all very much. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time here on Facebook Live. Patreon will be Tuesday at 8:30. Next week, more news on that in the Patreon Facebook group. If you do want to join that, you can do a free trial. You don't have to pay immediately to join. You can do a free trial for 1 month, and then it's £2 a month after that. But obviously, you can just cancel if you just want to join one and see what all the fuss is about, and then not come back. I won't be offended. I just appreciate the support, and it's a lot of fun. So, but new members could have a free trial if they wanted to. Link again is behind that link in the description, or just message me and I'll talk you through it. It's pretty straightforward though. Okay, Catherine says thank you for the great quiz. Thanks everyone for your company. Yes, and great quiz. Thanks, Chris. You're welcome. Sue as well. Mark, you're welcome. Yeah, it's been fun as always. Take care of yourselves. Yes, Millie and Gabby and I don't know if Michelle hung around, but if you are still watching, thank you for checking us out at least. I appreciate the follows, and on TikTok too. Appreciate that as well. Yes, have a fab week for you all. I will see you all same time next time for more of the same fun. Cheers. Good night.